screws loose, they done stripped the bolts on them. Should've never sent them to pick up the work for me. Sprayed the park and had my shit inside the car. Marcus Smart Boy was shooting with a 36 on him. Said if he wasn't in the rush, they was all goners. Tech cursive on the chest, he was
right. Greetings, Chudlings. Welcome to another episode of Chuddy's Corner. Special edition. It is Saturday, February 15th. It is the daytime. Rarely see the Chuddy heads at this time of the day. But the All-Star break is here. We're going to do a little breakdown of just what to expect from the All-Star game tomorrow, skills challenge, 3-point, all that. Spend just a little bit of time on that, but then I think what we're really going to focus on is a little bit of state of the Celtics, state of the league, go around, pick some contenders, pick some pretenders. We're through. I mean, the Celtics have played, I think it's like 55 games so far. So we got a good idea of where all these teams are at. So we'll talk a little bit about that stuff too. With me as always, Chuddy. How you feeling today, Chuddy?
Feeling good. It's always a little sad not having an NBA slate of any kind to look forward to. We'll obviously talk about the events of this weekend. They don't quite do it for me in the way that some games were, but incredible college basketball slate. And I haven't watched as much college ball as I'd like to this year. So
I feel like once football season ends, you kind of that's when everyone's sort. What's that?
It's time to dig in now. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That to me, that's like the official start of the college basketball. I mean, that opening weekend when they play like games 24 hours is obviously sick, but then after that, it's just kind of like, all right, thanks for that. I'll see you again in mid-February. All right. So All-Star game is tomorrow. So a new format. I'm going to try to explain as best as I understand. If I say anything wrong, just correct me. So essentially it's now 3 teams of 8 from the NBA All-Stars. And they're playing a tournament where they're playing now the winner of the Rising Stars versus G League Challenge. So there was 4 teams there. They played like a little mini tournament Friday night. And the winner of that now enters in as like the 4 seed to this other tournament against the other NBA All-Stars. And they play games to 40. Is that correct?
Yep.
Do they do 2s and 3s?
Or is it ones and twos, I believe.
Really? I love that. I kind of like that they're leaning into the pickup style of it. So 2 Celtics All-Stars. We have Jalen and Tatum, obviously. They're both on the same team. They're on Team Chuck. So would it be easier? I mean, should we just talk about the new format or should we go over the teams and then kind of roll it all into one? What do you think is the easiest way to attack?
I mean, I think go through the teams, maybe lead off with the teams just so we know who's where. They're not that long.
Okay. All right, yeah, no. So the Shaq team, they're calling this the OG team. That's LeBron from the Lakers, Steph Curry from the Warriors, Tatum, Durant, Damian Lillard, James Harden, Jaylen Brown, and Kyrie Irving subbing in for Anthony Davis. So we're going to get to see a little bit of Kyrie and the Jays playing on the same team. I like that team personally, obviously a little bit biased. Kenny's team, Anthony Edwards, Jalen Brunson, Jaren Jackson Jr., Jalen Williams, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Cade Cunningham, and Tyler Hero. A little bit of, I think they're calling that like the Young Guns. Very cheesy names. These aren't my names.
Totally.
And then Chuck's team is Jokic, SGA, Wemby, Pascal Siakam, Alperen Sengun, Karl Anthony Towns, Donovan Mitchell, and Trae Young, who is filling in for Giannis, who is injured, is not playing as well. They're calling that one like the international team. So a lot of those picks obviously were international guys. That's Charles Barkley's team. And then the team that made it out yesterday of that like round robin thing there is I think it was Team C
for Candace Parker, yeah.
For Candace Parker, that's Stephon Castle, Dalton Knecht, Jalen Wells, Keontae George, Zach Edey, Trace Jackson Davis, and Ryan Dunn. So they'll be taking on Shaq, our team with the Celtics first, while the other 2 teams play games to 40. Winners of those play in the final. Winner of that is the winner of the All-Star game. I kind of like this setup. I mean, I like it better than what they did before with like the fourth quarter suddenly being that target score. I do like the idea of a target score. I just thought that was a weird way that they did it. It was confusing. I think it confused a lot of people if you just were turning on and not listening to Chuddy's Corner every day leading up to it. But I like this setup. I think it's going to breed a lot of competition. I wouldn't even mind them leaning more into the pickup stuff and doing like, imagine if they did like half court, like winner keeps ball or something like that. I think that'd be kind of cool to see NBA players playing in that type of environment. That would make it different. But go ahead. What do you think of the format? Let's start there and then we can talk about who we think's going to win.
I think first of all, just the idea that they're trying something different is good versus sticking to like this idea that they had to keep some whatever they thought there was there, and it's just like whatever. It's a new time, it's a new era. It's the All-Star game. The point is to make it fun, and last year wasn't that fun. It hasn't been that fun, you could argue, the last few years. So it's like,
Yeah.
why not try something? And yeah, I mean, it's going to be very hard, I think, no matter what, to get everyone to truly buy into playing hard for an entire All-Star game, which is fine. Like, that's just the reality of the situation, and I'm okay with
Yeah.
that. But I definitely think this new style should lead to some enhanced competition. And I think you're going to get some guys crying, and the guys who are trying are going to lead to other guys trying, because you don't want to be the guy who's getting embarrassed. And then it could be like, whoa, these guys are really trying. What the fuck? And I think that's the other thing, because I think a lot of people are going to be tuning in who haven't really been paying attention to all this stuff and are going to see the team from the Rising Stars out there competing and be like, what is this shit? But I think they will be now the try-hard team, because they're going up. They're the young guns who are like, we're here to make a name for ourselves with something to prove.
And they're playing all these like legendary players
also, right?
too.
So they don't want to go out and get embarrassed in their like 15 minutes of fame. So I think you can basically take to the bank that they're going to be playing the hardest. And then that kind of naturally makes the team they're playing, the legends, be like, well, we don't want to get embarrassed by these guys. So I think it's going to naturally, like, the intensity, I think, could pick up pretty quickly.
This could be like a Team USA scrimmage, the dream team, when they played like the select players or whatever.
Yeah, I think so. And then I think the international part could, like, the natural rivalries they have on these rosters could also help that competitiveness, where it's like you're representing a little bit more than just like the West Conference. The Eastern Conference is like, okay, like, who cares? But if they're getting this rep of like, shit, we're all like representing international players, we don't want to be like last place getting stuff
or
down
like
here
the
either.
old guys are like, we don't want to pass the torch yet. The young guys, we want to take it.
Exactly. And then I think, like you said, the target score from the go, where it's like a pickup style game, will lead to, competition right from the jump. You know what you're playing to. Every basket counts. It's kind of that pickup style, and it's not that long of a game. It's going to be, I mean, it's like a quarter or two probably worth of actual playing, so you can't really dog it at all through this game. So, the
like subbing, I'm interested to see how the subbing is going to work too with this, where it's like a game to 40, like, and you're not going necessarily by minutes. It's like, all right, we're on like a run. They're going on a run against us. We got to put in someone that can do this or do that. So
right. No, I'm definitely excited to watch it. Too. And I think it's not going to be probably as good as maybe we're hoping, but I think it'll be a lot better than it was. And I think we could at least see some like really exciting moments from some of these games.
Yeah. I agree that they had to do something different. It had gotten so bad. It was just like the whole people tuned in basically just to laugh at it, I feel like, in the past. So I don't know. I'm excited about it. And you just kind of reminded me to maybe temper my expectations, because it might not be, but to me, this feels like this is a good formula. I think the guys are going to have to try.
Any way
if there is something, if there's a way,
like we'll
do
see
something like this. Is there like a cash prize for the winning team? Do we know anything about that?
I don't know. I think there was in past, or it was at least like they're winning money for charity or something. I mean, I don't know, probably. But I mean, if you can almost shame them into trying and like make it a point of pride to win, then
I'm kind of interested in the Dalton Connect going against LeBron in that first matchup. That seems like a pretty good natural rivalry there.
Right.
There is Jokic and SGA on the same team. That would have been nice to see them going head-to-head against each other. Though we will have Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns going up against each other in that first matchup. We'll have a couple of the Cavs playing against each other. Garland and Mobley are on one team. Donovan Mitchell's on the other team. So I think it does look like there'll be some kind of like natural – there'll be some like rivalries just based on that anyway. But
when
I'm excited. I think
that international part too is big, because historically, like, Jokic and Luka don't like try at all. Like, even less than.
Is that why Jokic is such a massive underdog to win the final MVP for the All-Star game?
Probably.
He's just never at those odds, and I was like, oh, interesting.
No, he's like notoriously, even for All-Star standards, like no show those games. It's like not going to try to do anything.
He's so mad that he doesn't have a week to go home to his horses. Like, it's crazy.
And that's kind of Luka's kind of seems to have taken to that as well. But then you have the contrast of that is Giannis, who's been like a super kind of an all-star game tryhard. I think he's definitely won the MVP in past, and has been a guy who has pushed it. And Wemby has already said he's not playing.
Giannis is out.
Yeah. Right. But that's true. That is gonna be a bummer for that. But Wemby recently said in an interview that he wants to be the guy to come in and like dive on the floor and raise the intensity. He's like, I'll be the one guy trying. So it's one thing to say that, it's another to like go out there and do it. But again, like I think I'm excited for it. And if like Luka and Jokic and those guys ever were gonna try, again, I think it might be in this setting where it's like, a little more at stake, and it's like we're representing like the other guy, the non-USA like basketball in the world.
You're confusing me because now I'm looking. Luka's not playing either, right? He's not in it.
Oh yeah, Luka.
I don't see
All-Star game.
You're confusing the shit out of me. I'm like,
the rosters in front of me. I'm just thinking of like international All-Star team without realizing that neither of those guys are actually on it. Giannis was gonna be on it.
Giannis was in, but I think that Luka just missed too much time anyway.
Luka, I forgot he didn't even make the All-Star game, but I was just lumping him in because he's like with Jokic, part of that reputation of the Euro
kind
guys
of like that European
in the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
But so maybe Jokic still won't give a shit. We don't know, but if Wemby's gonna try his ass off, and Shea probably will too, because I think there's still, even though he's obviously the MVP favorite, and I think like hoop heads obviously know who he is, he's still not like that level of star that maybe he thinks he could. So that's just maybe a stage for him. And the MVP, let's face it, like it's a narrative driven award. So if he steals the fucking show at All-Star Weekend, that will definitely help drive the narrative of like MVP at the end of the year, when one of the things in his favor is like dominated the game when everyone was there.
He's got the second best odds to win the MVP. Curry's got the best odds
for the hometown advantage.
It's in hometown, and then Wemby and Shea are tied at 800. LeBron and Edwards down the list.
Cool.
Also, too, SGA is going against Jalen Williams too. So I do think sometimes you have those teammate matchups that can get a little bit interesting. We saw the Jays kind of squaring off in one of those All-Star weekends. That was pretty fun to watch. All right, we don't need to spend a whole lot of time on this, but I do just want to kind of mention what like the lines and stuff are. So they have Team Shaq as the favorite to win. I'm guessing that's because they're just playing that rising star team. But then that other matchup, so the European team is 3.5 point favorites against the like young gun team. So I don't know, that should be an interesting matchup.
I
wonder how they make these spreads.
I was just going to say, 40. It's gotta be kind of hard to read into any of these lines.
It's like, so they're basically saying they think that game's going to be 40-36 or not, and no closer than that.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I'll take the Jays. I'm going to take the Team Shaq to win it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like games like this, as much as it's fun to like dream about the X's and O's of these actual matchups, it's going to come down to the motivation and which team decides to try harder. I kind of do think like LeBron is going to be one of the guys pushing to try, and he'll have the respect of the other guys with him. Like they make the most sense to me as guys who can go out there and not just look like they're playing pickup.
Yeah, and I also feel like LeBron is probably going to use this as an opportunity to make people think that he's still like LeBron and that the Lakers are still his team, that he didn't just get supplanted in a midnight coup against them, basically, in Lakerland.
Exactly.
A lot of drama. I don't know how that hasn't become more drama, to be honest, but
it's early.
It's early. I saw that people were like saying LeBron like gave Luka gets announced last in the lineup now. People were like, LeBron's just a new guy, just a great teammate. It's just like, we'll see how long that lasts for.
Okay, first of all, that was literally just, they announced that was just for the first game, and then it's going back to LeBron being last as long. The one night thing they asked him to do. So that's how long that big thing will last.
Okay, well then that's great for the point I'm making. All right, so that's the All-Star game. All right, let's real quick go through the 3-point contest, dunk contest, and all that. The 3-point, the people competing in that: Dame Lillard, and I'm going to list these are in order of favorites, so that's all kind of going. So we can go off that. Dame Lillard, Tyler Hero, Buddy Hield, Norman Powell, Darius Garland, Jalen Brunson, Cameron Johnson, and Cade Cunningham. I mean, 3-point contest, I feel bad for these. These like the 3-point contest, I guess, is still kind of exciting. But
okay, first of all, can we just point out how the fuck is Steph Curry not in this? In the fucking Chase Center?
A great point.
What?
I don't know why some of these guys are in this. Yeah.
I know they were planning to do that thing with like him and Sabrina Ionescu like last year or whatever, but like that got canceled because I think they weren't able to like pull off a good enough plan. But how do you still not put Curry? Like, he's obviously already gonna be there. He's playing in the game. It's his home fucking team. Like, What a
Well,
whiff.
dude, these contests are kicked. These contests are kicked. We really shouldn't
I mean,
even spend that much time
those are
on them.
good shooter. At least with unlike the dunk, like those are star players and good shooters somewhat.
Yeah.
But I
Well,
just
that's what
like
I'm saying. The
the Curry thing
3-point
is
contest
crazy.
can always hit because it's a lot of luck and it's like you already
Correct.
know what you're getting into it. You don't have these like huge lofty expectations or anything
Well,
like
right.
that.
I was gonna say it doesn't have that cachet where there's almost like pressure on you. It's not like you have to think up like, oh, what am I gonna do in this contest?
Right. It's
You
just like
literally
go
are
and hit
already there.
shots.
Just
And you
go
usually
shoot.
have one guy who just like clanks and you have one guy that locks in and you're like, all right,
Yeah,
it's
but
you know,
there's no
I don't
shame.
mind
It's
the
not like we
3-point
look back and
contest.
like, oh my god, remember when so and so embarrassed himself in the 3-point contest?
Yeah.
Like,
There's such degenerate things on the on these on the sports books, just like
oh, of course,
like
of
round
course.
one scores, longest streak. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, you want to pick a winner for the 3-point contest?
I mean, I think the guys favorite are favored for a reason. Like Dame would make the most sense, but if I wanted to pick someone for some value, I think Cam Johnson could be a big pick. He's obviously, you said, one of the bigger underdogs.
Plus 900.
Yeah, he's got just a pretty stroke and he can get it going. I also wouldn't hate a little nibble on maybe a Norm Powell, and then I like Hero too. Seems like he's going to be on a mission, and then Buddy Hield has been struggling this season, but in this contest
That was crazy that he was in it.
this might just be like perfect for him. This entire everything about this style that like, that's what he wants to do is go to a rack and pick up balls and shoot them. So I can see him just making like
Go to a
27 or
rack.
30 shots.
I'm
But
totally
like the
misheard
rack
that
of
at first.
balls.
No, I know. I totally I thought you were saying he was
Oh, yeah,
enlisting
he's
or
gonna-
something.
Yeah, he's get the ball and drive.
Yeah. Ted Williams action or something.
No, so I know I just picked like 4 guys, but basically
Yeah, so you
everyone's
don't wanna pick
a
a
good shooter and everyone's gonna
yeah.
have fun.
So you don't want to pick a winner. All right, if I am gonna pick a winner, I'm just gonna take the longest odds, Cade Cunningham, because I do feel like this is one that kind of gets a little bit lucky. Who knows?
That's
Cade Cunningham, terrible 3-point shooter. You had a scoff when I said that.
I forgot he was even in it. That's kind of seems he's an awesome player, having a great year and a well deserved first time All-Star, but that feels a little more like oh shit, who's already going to be here and like can shoot versus I don't think
All right,
I think
well, that
anyone's
makes me like
mistaking
it
him for one
even
of
more.
the best shooters in the league. But again, it's a 3-point contest. He's an NBA player. Anyone could get hot and win this thing. So for anyone to have that long of odds seems a little strange.
All right, and then the dunk contest: Mac McClung, Matas Buzelis, Stefan. Oh, sorry, I fell asleep. Stephon Castle, Andre Jackson Jr. The dunk contest is dead as far in my opinion. I mean, they have Mac McClung again. They're just gonna have a G Leaguer win it 3 times in a row and think that that's like a sick thing. Like, I mean, it's like
Seemingly.
not great for the state of the dunk contest if you're telling me that a G Leaguer is coming in and winning it 3 times in a row. No disrespect to Mac McClung when he won it that first time, it was cool. But they need to bring this out back, don't they? The dunk contest.
I mean, I don't know. We just gave the league credit, I think, for trying to put some spice back into the actual All-Star game. By the way, can we even call it the All-Star game anymore? It's a tournament. Like, is it the All-Star games?
Ooh, I
The
like
All-Star, like, I don't know. It just feels weird saying All-Star game when it's not like
that. The AST, not to be confused with the IST.
Yeah, maybe that's the move. But anyway, we gave the NBA credit for trying to fix that. I think with the dunk contest, it's the same. They need to try something. And again, it's no disrespect to the guys in it, but that's kind of what it comes down to. Like you said, is Mac McClung. It was kind of cool the first time. By now, it's like, is there anyone that wants this? And then again, he's obviously a good dunker. It's not that the dunks are bad. It's just like, well, he's really not like even a basketball player in the lexicon of like NBA basketball. So
yeah,
I mean, I tune in to watch NBA players dunk. The G League has a dunk contest, I think. So I don't see why he can't do that. And if you want to watch that, great. But if we're just I'll just pull up YouTube and type in like sick N1 mixtape dunks if that's what I want to watch.
Yeah, and it would be one thing too if it was like they did almost like with the All-Star game where it's like whoever wins the G League dunk contest is automatically in the NBA one. That would be kind of cool. Like, but the fact that he's the favorite to win it for a 3rd time in a row is just it's a total disaster, I think, for the dunk contest.
Well, and also, but like you said, it's almost an unfair advantage where most of these guys probably aren't really thinking of it until a few weeks before, and then like, shit, I'm going to do the dunk contest. All right, what should I do? Mac McClung is, at this point, essentially, this is like his biggest day of the year. Like, this is what he lives for. His entire reputation is staked on, like, being in the dunk contest. So I think he's technically, like, on a G League roster, signed to a 2-way. I don't think he has any future aspects of, like, making the NBA. I wouldn't be surprised if he spends most of his time and effort and practice, like, working on stuff for the dunk contest. So he's essentially practicing for this year-round. I'm sure his, like, planning, execution, and all that is going to be leaps and bounds ahead of the other guys because he's just putting much more thought and effort into it. But again, like, I'm not moved by that at all. So that part's kind of frustrating. I think I already talked about how it's just crazy to me they can't get even like guys like the Thompson brothers, Shaden Sharp, guys who are like up and coming NBA players. Like,
Mhm.
I need to know, were they asked and said no, or are they just this like hopeless that they can't even think
There's
to
so
try?
many up and coming stars. I honestly, and this is going to be like I'm Skip Bayless or something, but it's like I really think LeBron not doing it just basically gave it like a green light for every star not
Right.
to do it, because I feel like everyone used to do it. If he didn't do it, then I don't know. Like, it would credit to Jalen, who did it last year, obviously, but then he got like shit on for it. It's like,
Right.
so again, like if you're a star
Kind of
player,
proving the point.
people, it's one of those things that, again, I think people are tuning in just to shit on it at this point because it's been so bad. So if
Yeah.
you're a star player now, it's almost like, unless it's going to be all star players, not like all dash stars, I'm saying all
Yeah.
star
Like
players,
household names.
yeah, all star caliber players, then there's no point in going out there, because if you lose to like Mac McClung, people will be like, oh,
Right.
um,
Where, like we
it's
just
just
said, Mac McClung's essentially a professional dunker at this
right.
point.
It's like it's all he does. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So it's just, yeah, I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if it's just to like shut it down and then in 4 years, 5 years later, come back with a star-studded one, and maybe that kind of buys people back in. But it's
Or
bad.
go, if you're gonna lean into this Mac McClung thing, then it's like maybe go the entire other way and be like, we're just gonna hold like mini qualifying tournaments around the world, and anyone can come and dunk, and then it's just like the 4 best dunkers in the entire world. They're all just random people, and this is like your
That would be
stage.
something
Like,
cool. Like, do it like
at
kind of
least then
almost
it's,
like all season. Have like
yeah,
the
it's like a
TNT.
real
Well,
contest that they'll at
not
least care
TNT
about.
anymore, but you could. And this is proprietary. I'm calling this is proprietary, so no one can steal this. They have to reach out to us before they can use this. Adam Silver, hit me up. Like the around the NBA show, like throughout the year leading up to the All-Star break, every time they're in a new city, they should just have like a
Yeah.
thing where it's like they have 4 or 5 people do dunks, and they pick the guy. Okay, you're the guy that's going to represent this city in the dunk contest, like
Yeah.
coming up. Because then all year you're getting to know these players, these like random people, and they're doing dunks and like they're hyping it up. That I might have
I
just
think that would be
started that
sick.
by saying I didn't know the answer. I think I just gave the answer.
And it would even
Just
give
have them
people
do, it'd be like
things
American
to,
Idol, but dunks.
and it would give you like a hometown person to root for. It's like someone, the person representing Boston goes with like a Celtics jersey, and then it's like, all right, it's like a 32 teams are there, and it's almost like could be a whole giant March Madness bracket. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
Celtics Lakers, like our guys, and it's just some random fucking
Dude,
idiot from Boston who's sick at dunking. Like, okay,
that could totally be it. And I don't know, you could narrow it down quickly. You can have like if I don't know how many cities they would actually have, but say they had like 16 of them or something like that. Have like the first round be like just like 4 people going up against each other, and only one person gets through from each one.
Yeah,
and it's like
it's
and
fine.
go to straight decimal score. I don't know.
Right.
You can
And
figure
even if you-
something out.
Yeah, and you
We
can
just
still
figured it out.
have just the 4 people at the actual like dunk contest that everyone's watching in the All-Star city. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's not like you have to do it, but again, I think
You
the
could
fact
even
that
do Friday night. You could have
yeah,
the elimination of the dunk contest. Then the next night's the big thing.
right.
We
And I
just,
think
I think
people
we
would
just
watch
solved the dunk contest, dude. I would thought that'd be so much better. It was just like
Right.
a random guy from Boston who's going to compete for like 100K in a dunk contest.
I think it'd be sick.
That'd be so much better than watching. Again, no disrespect to the players that I just listed, but like Mac McClung, Matas Bazulis, who I literally thought was a fan that snuck on the court the first time we played the Bulls. Like he looks like he's coming from like a high school team. Stephon
is,
Castle,
basically.
who's obviously really well, technically, yeah, good point. Stephon Castle, who is really good. And then Andre Jackson Jr. I don't know, just terrible.
I mean,
All right.
Bazelis and Castle were high lottery picks this year. Like those guys, at least I could sell it if it was 4 guys like that. Andre Jackson Jr. I think was either a first or early second round pick by the Bucks. He's basically in their rotation for the first time this season. Good athlete, good dunker, like a fine role player. No chance of being a star ever.
All right, we gotta move on. All right, and the last one is a skills contest. I told you before
You
the
make
show.
a pick, not even.
Oh, I'll make up. I mean, yeah, I think it's going to be fucking Mac McClung. They're not rolling him out there every year. They're not, because I think the NBA thinks this 3-peat thing is cool.
People like it, and
it's
maybe again,
not.
maybe in this generation of streaming and like whatever, I don't know. Like there are kids who think it's cool, and maybe he has an online following. Like I don't know, but yeah, for me, I'm gonna pick Stephon Castle and hope that he can stand up to the evil that is this.
That's true.
Mac
and it's nothing
McClung
against
era.
Mac McClung. I just think it's
No.
for the NBA, if you're trying
It's
to
not
tell me
his
the
fault.
dunk contest is important, having a 3-peat with a G leaguer winning it is
Right.
not helping your case.
Bingo.
All right. Then the last one, and I told you before, if we talked for more than 30 seconds on the skills contest, I was going to leave the set. So I don't even
Perfect.
teams now.
Mhm.
Team Spurs, teams Cavs, teams Warriors, team Rooks.
France.
Is that what that is? France?
Well, I don't know. Was it
Rooks?
Ricochet and Sar? They're just two French
know.
rookies, yeah.
Rookies? Oh, I didn't know if it was
Yeah.
Rooks.
There's two
The
like the pawn,
like-
the piece of the chessboard.
no, isn't there like a
Taylor
lady
Rooks.
interviewer? Yeah, there's an interviewer lady that
Yes,
everyone always makes outlandish claims to what they're going to do.
Yes. That'd be funny,
I
but no.
don't care. I'd say let's go Team Warriors because it's in Oakland or
You're
San
picking
Fran.
Moody and Draymond Green. Wow.
Is that
famous,
Oh,
famous dugouts guy, Draymond Green, getting the nod. I was gonna make fun of them because I feel like that team. Where are their skills?
I didn't know that's what there's no skills.
Right, like Draymond Green's obviously great, but that's your team skills. No, I mean the Spurs team is Wemby and Chris Paul is like, and Chris Paul.
Okay, yeah,
like, that's a great. Yeah, all right. I mean Mitchell and Mobley is fun. It's sad that the skills game can draw better fucking players than the dunk contest.
That is true.
Like,
that is
crazy. Lineup of players.
Yeah. All right.
Have Wemby do the fucking dunk contest.
Would that even be sick?
I'd watch it. It would just be funny to see the shit like he standing out of bounds and just like leaning and dunking without jumping, shit like that. Like I'd rather watch that than whatever we're gonna see tonight. Like
that could be interesting. Yeah, it could be good.
I don't know. Maybe Castle will try to jump over Wemby because they are teammates in the Spurs. So
that would be a cool move.
I could see that.
I think I might put something on Castle. I think you talked me into Castle.
Yes.
Yes, he's having a good All-Star game too. He's on the team that's playing in the championship. So
showed out.
Or in the
and he had some nice dunks against the Celtics in that game recently. So
yeah, all right.
Perhaps foreshadowing.
Gone long on the All-Star talk.
Go.
Let's get into the state of the season, state of the league. I'll pull up our standings here. I think we can we can go through some of the teams and then maybe kind of see who we think, rank them as where we think they are contenders, like wise. Like who do we think, if we had to do almost like a power ranking of the teams, like if we were setting our own Vegas odds to win the title. So Celtics find themselves in second place in the East still. Though they're 2.5 games up on the Knicks. So should we start talking about the East first or start talking West?
Why not East? Closer to home.
All right. I think the storyline is, do you think the Celtics can catch up to the Cavs? They're 5.5 games back. Do you think we even need to? And then do you think there's anyone in that next group? I mean, the Knicks are pretty much the only one close. Do you think the Knicks have any chance of catching up to the Celtics on the other end? Like, what's your state of the East? I don't really care if we get the 1 seed. It'd be cool to have it, but I don't know. I don't fear playing the Cavs on the road. I think the East is, I don't want to quote Ja Morant or anything, but I think the East is pretty good.
Yeah, I think that too. And I mean, I think we've talked a good amount about how much we like the Celtics matchup against the Cavs and the Knicks. Can we catch them? Sure. Will we try hard enough and care enough to? Doubt it. Could the Knicks catch us? Yeah. I mean, they're only 2 games back in the loss column. I guess we have the tiebreaker. Well, no, we probably play them 2 more times. They definitely could catch us, and maybe they will. And again, don't really care about that either. The only thing that really matters to me is I think there is a very clear top 3 of the teams we just mentioned, and then like a massive, massive drop off where
disgusting drop off.
We all think the Celtics are going to win the East again, but like if you told me the Cavs, the Celtics, or the Knicks won the East, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. And honestly, we're going to get into the West in a second, and the West is stacked, but I think you can make a strong case that 3 of the best 4 true contenders are those 3 East teams, along with OKC. Like, but after that, I think you'd say the next like 8 to 10 are probably all West teams. So any of those 3 teams I think could finish, I mean, probably not first in the standings, but I think any of them they're all legit contenders. They all could win the East, and they'll all look good in the playoffs. After that, I mean, Indiana, Milwaukee, Detroit, Orlando, Atlanta, Miami, Chicago, Philly, whatever. If you told me any of those teams end up winning the East, I'd be like, wow, something like shocking is going to happen. So in terms of true contenders, I think you can draw the line right after 3. It doesn't really matter. So I'd say the big part of this has nothing to do really with matchups or anything. It would be nice to get the 1 seed, not even for home court, just so that the Knicks and Cavs play each other and we don't have to beat both of them. Again, not that we can't.
That's
just
good way.
It would just be a much easier path. Like, yeah, I'm a famously I would love the easy path guy. Everyone probably wants us to face a hard path, blah blah blah. And I mean, that'll be
Why
a
the
hard
fuck is
path if we have to go
it's a
Knicks.
hard
Then
path?
if we have to go Knicks then Cavs, I mean, that would be a hard path, certainly, as hard a path as you could have, I guess, in the East. So in terms of like 2-3-1 home road, don't really matter. But it would just be nice to have an easier second round matchup would be the big benefit, and have Cleveland and New York battle each other, and then we just clean up the scraps. But ultimately, I don't think it's worth like overtaxing the team to chase the 1 seed. It's at this point probably more dependent on if the Cavs have a little free fall at any point.
Yeah, which I feel like they got a little shaky there for a bit. I mean, kind of around the same time that we did, but it looks like they've won 8 of the last.
They lost 3 straight
last 10
and rebounded big time.
Yeah. So the Knicks, Celtics, and the Cavs all won 8 of the last 10 going into the break. So all of them were playing well going into the All-Star break. Before we get into the West, and we both forgot about this. We got to pay some bills first. So I'll do a shout out to Mario's roofing, Mario's siding, Mario's windows, Mario's. Just call who? Mario's. At Mario's, we pride ourselves on quality, safety, and value. We wouldn't do anything to your home that we wouldn't do to our own. Good rule of thumb in windows and in life. Call Mario's today and ask about our winter specials. 781-344-2420 or visit mariosroofing.com. Tell them that Chuddy's Corner sent you and you can get $50 off your installation. Some restrictions do apply. Mario's Roofing, they won't soak you in order to keep you warm and dry. So check out Mario's. Thank you to Mario's. Do you want to pay our other bill before we get into the West?
Yeah, well, let's finish the East for a second, because I think there is a little more meat on the bone.
I thought we would finish the East.
I think we finished that contender tier. I think we should still at least mention the other teams, as we will probably play at least one, if not two of them, in the playoffs. So there are a lot more teams. So do you think there is like a next tier, or do you think it's just a complete like 3 through? Like, where do you stop the line after that? Because it's kind of...
Well, I'm looking at the standings now, and I would have, if I had just guessed what the order was, I would have probably had them in a different order. But like, I mean, the Magic obviously are dealing with injuries. So when are they getting any of their guys back?
They have them all. They have Franz and Paolo back, and they're missing Suggs still. Mo Wagner's out for the season.
And it doesn't really seem to be fixing much.
It's gotten worse.
Interesting.
Actually.
Okay, so I guess the Magic
fallen
would be
off a cliff.
My tier would have probably been like Pacers, Bucks, Magic. It looks like the Pistons have been playing really well.
Yeah, I mean,
is there any concern now? Is that a team that you'd be concerned with early on? Because other than that, no. I mean, I really do think it does. It does kind of hit a cliff. I mean, Pacers, Bucks. I think Giannis in himself is obviously a challenge.
So I was going to say, if you're just power ranking in terms of contenders, I think you would have to put the Bucks 4th. Just because if if you told me any team outside of the top 3 made a run to the East, even like reached the East Finals, I think we'd probably both sit here and say, I guess like Giannis being the best player in every game, Dame playing awesome, like it's conceivable. So I think they're kind of probably 4th by default. And then I think the Pacers have to be there just because they did it last year. I mean, it's the same team. So like we know that they're capable of getting hot and winning. And like they match up well against some of these teams too. So you never know. And then, I probably would have had the Magic in there. They're playing awfully right now, but I still kind of trust like their talent and their defense. So if they can figure out better ways to score and start making some shots, like we know they're a threat. We've seen that team play well. So I think that's probably got to be the 4 through 6 in some order if we're just talking like could win it. The Pistons, I really like what they're doing. I think they're probably a year away from like actually making any noise. I mean, we could play them, and maybe they could win a game, and they're a good team, but they don't really have. They're not there yet, I guess. It'd be a good story, and like that for them, just making the actual playoffs would be awesome. Like that'd be a huge step in their rebuild. That
of course,
feels like it's been a
I mean,
while.
they were a very, very bad team for a while now. So just the fact that they're 6th seed, if they're not even in the play-in, that's solid for them.
It's awesome. Yeah, exactly. And if they get to the 4 or 5 or something, they could win.
Pistons first round, I think would be a very interesting matchup. I'm not saying I think they could win that, but I think that they could make that a little bit harder for the Knicks. And for the Knicks team that we know when they reach the playoffs is like so kicked anyway. I think that Pistons team could kind of give them a jolt of energy.
Right. But if they could jump to 5th too, they could beat whoever 4 is. And that's not too many games out. Like finish this regular season strong. If they're in the 4-5 matchup,
they're 2 games back from the 4 seed.
There you go. So like you're telling me they couldn't beat the Bucks or the Pacers?
I don't know about the Bucks, which is what we just said about Giannis, but the Pacers,
But that could
I think
also go
so.
the other way. When was the last time Giannis was healthy for the playoffs?
Well, if they don't have Giannis, then I think anyone could beat the Bucks.
Well, they don't right now, and they haven't. They didn't in the last playoffs, and they didn't in the playoffs before that. And
True.
you never know. I mean, obviously, you could say that about
Wow, I
any
didn't
team,
realize
but...
there was a pattern was building like that. Interesting.
Mhm.
Ooh,
Just noticing things.
Storylines, the agendas are firing out right now.
Yeah,
Plenty of agendas rolling through my brain right now.
no doubt.
Looking forward to pushing them. But yeah, I mean, again, I think from the East, it's gonna be one of those three teams. If it's not, it's because Giannis is healthy and he played really well and did something crazy.
Yeah.
But that's
Outside
that's it. The Pistons are interesting. Everyone else is
The Pistons, I just think, are the only team in that. I think you look at the mix of 4 through, I guess, 11 of teams that you would think are at least trying, and it's almost you're just almost like grimace at it. Whereas the Pistons, I feel like, are the one team who you can actually be like, I feel good about them. For every other team, it almost feels like
it's the one team that is just like you're where you're supposed to be.
Right.
Maybe
Arguably ahead of where,
all those other teams, it's like, what the fuck happened to you guys?
Pathetic. You guys are pathetic right now. Like
what
the teams around them in the
what
standings,
the hell?
like, this is shameful.
Yeah, right. Like the Pistons, like, dude, great job. Like another team that's like the 5 seed in front of the Pistons, like, are you guys fucking shitting me?
Every other
What
team
the hell?
4 through 11 is just like, ugh, you disgust me.
Yeah.
Pistons like, you're doing great, guys. Keep it up. Good work.
There's
The other
gotta be a
teams that
meme
have
in
the
there.
same record is just like, oh man.
There's got to be a meme in there.
Yeah, and then it's funny to look at, think at the actual play-in race, because one of the funniest storylines, at least to me, to watch in the second half in this East is like Washington and Charlotte have very clearly, I think, locked up like top 4 draft lottery odd things. Like they've won the tank, but then Toronto, Brooklyn, Philly, and Chicago all like should be tanking. And at least one of those teams is going to make the play-in, whether they want to or not, just mathematically speaking. So
yeah,
it's just going to be fascinating to see. Like Philly's lost 5 in a row, Chicago's lost 4 in a row, Miami's lost 4 in a row. Atlanta traded away their pick, so they'll probably make it by default because they aren't at least motivated to not make it. So like just by default, they'll probably get the 8th seed. Chicago traded to get the protections off their pick, so now basically they can try to make the play-in without worrying about losing the top 10 protected pick, which is just such a sorry state of affairs. If I was a Bulls fan, I'd be so pissed that that's their intention.
Pathetic.
The Nets have won 3 in a row and actually look pretty good and didn't trade Cam Johnson at the deadline, which everyone thought they were going to, and they're like kind of looking like the best of these teams now. They have a good coach. They might need to shut guys down. Toronto obviously just traded for Brandon Ingram. He's not close to playing, but they kind of were interesting. Like, it's just going to be very funny to watch all these teams, and could see some very peculiar lineups as the season goes on.
And
then
the Marcus
of course,
Smart Wizards, you never know what they might start cooking up.
I haven't seen Smart or Middleton anywhere close to a basketball court.
All right, never mind.
But I think just by getting Kuzma off the team, they've looked better. They've actually been competitive. They've lost 4 in a row, but they've looked competitive in their games since the trade deadline. Might be some addition by subtraction.
That's enough. That's enough about the East. We're now literally.
I think we just got to pinpoint Philly specifically as the one team who we've talked about all year. They're in 11th, tied with Brooklyn. Obviously, their draft pick is top 6 protected. So it's just still absolutely mind-boggling to me they haven't shut down Embiid after that surgery comment. And then did you see yesterday Paul George saying that they're giving him injections before like every game to play through pain, which usually is reserved for like important playoff games only. So again, it's just like, dude, you're 20 and 34. And he's going out there and sucking ass. It's not like they lost their last game to the Nets. He scored 2 fucking points in 33 minutes. Oubre and I think Grimes each had 30, and Paul George couldn't give them any help, and they lost to the Nets. It's like, why are you doing this? And who wants this? Because
so bad.
It's certainly not Sixers fans. Sixers fans are ready to be like, shut these guys down and tank. What are we fucking doing? And it's like they're playing the guys and still losing. So that, I mean, it's always fun to watch their Philly misery, but I'm really keeping an eye on that. And I think, I mean, I would be shocked if we don't see reason prevail here at some point and get an announcement over the next few weeks that one, if not both of those guys, are getting shut down for the season.
Yeah. I hope that they don't, just because it's hilarious. But
right.
Yeah. Anyway, so to put a whole bow on this, there's pretty much 3 teams coming out of the East, if anything, and we all think it's going to be the Celtics, but the Cavs and Knicks are capable.
Definitely.
We'll see where they mix in and everything else we go. Let's talk West.
No doubt.
Thunder, obvious.
Well, first, let's shout out, of course, Nick Pareno, the real estate mogul of the East. And by that, I mean the entire, east of the galaxy. Nick Pareno, real estate, nickpirano.com, nickpiraino.com. All of your real estate needs can be met with Nick. He's around the New England area. That's where he helped both of us settle into homes, but he can work across all states, anywhere around the world, buying, selling, renting, whatever. If you just got a question, Nick, I'll be happy to help you out. Really anything to do with the extended world of real estate. I mean, I have random questions about houses, the housing market, legal things, town bylaws, whatever. I'll just reach out to Nick. He always gets back to me right away with all of that information. Just a great resource, a great guy, and a true chuddy head. So again, if you're thinking about anything in real estate or really anything else, give Nick a call, pop on that website, nickpirano.com, and get in touch.
Yeah, shout out to Nick. Gotta love Nick. All right, the Western Conference. This is definitely a more competitive conference by far.
Although
I wouldn't say for the 1 seed,
right?
Yeah, the 1 seed, the Thunder are 8 games up. They're sort of doing to the West what we did to the East last year.
Yeah.
So they're obviously the team to beat in the West. After that, we have the Grizzlies, Nuggets, Rockets, Lakers, Clippers, Timberwolves, Mavericks. That rounds out our top 8. Our playing teams right now are the Kings, Warriors, Suns, and Spurs. The Trailblazers are about a game and a half out of that final 12 spot. No, never mind. That doesn't even really matter. Cleveland goes to 10 anyway. I was just misremembering how the play-in worked.
Totally.
So it looks like the Warriors and Suns will be fighting for that last 10 spot. So what do we all agree that that this is kind of the Thunder's conference to lose at this point?
I don't know. I think that's the question. Do you think anyone else is in that tier as a contender? I think I could make a case for the Nuggets.
I think maybe, as long as they have Jokic, you'd always make that.
And they're
case.
playing really, really well lately. Jamal Murray's come on. He scored a career high 55 points in his last game. For the last month or so, he's looked like the old Jamal Murray.
Yeah, they're on an 8-game winning streak too. Coming into the league.
Haven't played great competition, so we'll see how legit it is. But they've been playing arguably as well as any team in the league. They obviously have the best player in the league, and they have actually won a championship before. And Jokic is just say whatever you want, but I guarantee you OKC probably doesn't want to see that man in a 7-game series. I'm sure they'll be favored and feel good about it, but I don't know. I don't know. Would you put the Nuggets in the same tier as the Thunder, or is that probably still a stretch?
No. I wouldn't put them in the same tier as the Thunder. Again, the Thunder's defense is just totally, I think, sets them apart from everyone else. But it's sort of like, I think the Nuggets are kind of like the same thing that you said with Giannis in the East, where it's like, if I told you the Thunder didn't win the West, I think the Nuggets are the only team that I could see being the other team to get out of there. I know that everyone got a little fired up about the Lakers after that trade. I don't really see that. I think the defense is going to be good enough for them. I'd be surprised if the Grizzlies and the Rockets, even though I like those teams, I think the Rockets are a little bit ahead of schedule. And I just think the Grizzlies, I don't know. I don't know why I can't believe in the Grizzlies. I just don't. But I mean, I guess it could happen. But I would say Thunder are the tier 1.
Yeah.
And the tier 2, honestly, might just be the Nuggets. And then after that, it might just be a few of those other teams below them. For me, at least. And I think that's literally all has to do with just Jokic. I mean, just what he can do is insane. So,
yeah, I think that might be. I think the Nuggets, I think more highly of them than like what we're talking about Giannis in the East. I obviously get why you're making the comparison, but I think the Nuggets are a more well-rounded team, and they have a lot of players left from their championship 100%.
Core. Yeah, I don't think that they're. If the Nuggets played the Bucks in a 7-game series, they'd sweep them.
Right. Yeah. I know you weren't saying that. I feel like the Bucks in the East we were talking about is more of like a long shot wild card, whereas the Nuggets I think are not that at all. Like I don't think anyone would be surprised if the Nuggets
should we pull up some some Western Conference odds? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if it's Thunder Nuggets in the conference finals, I don't think the Nuggets. I mean, I don't think the Thunder would be a huge favorite. Do you? I think when people actually have
the Thunder.
The Thunder would be favored. The Thunder would be favored in a series against the Nuggets, but I don't think it would be by that much.
Yeah. This is actually a little bit surprising here. Western Conference winner, the OKC, the Thunder are plus 105. Nuggets are plus 600. Lakers are plus 700. And then after that, everything's plus over 1,000. So,
yeah,
that's a little surprising to me.
Well, I mean, I think you got to factor in how betting markets work, and obviously the Lakers, I'm sure, just got a huge
Well, I
influx
think that's why
of
the
bets.
Lakers are there.
Yeah.
I thought the Nuggets would have been maybe
Would be
more
higher.
like a +4 or 50 or something.
Yeah, and maybe I think probably people maybe haven't caught up to their hot streak, the fact that they're playing well, and all those other things. And I think it's more of like that's more of like a long look where it's like maybe this Nuggets team
I just
isn't
put a
deep
bet on
enough.
them.
What? Put a bet. There you go.
on the Nuggets.
Love it. Why not? But I think
Talk
for the
me into it.
Nuggets, it's more like hard to see them maybe playing well for 4 series in a row with the team they have and the depth and the lack of talent. But in terms of any one matchup, I don't think there's any team in the West that if you just like they're playing the Nuggets that you'd really feel like confident was going to beat the Nuggets, including Oklahoma City.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That if they can string, because they are a very streaky team. So right now they're streaking well and they look good. But yeah, it's a good point. 4 straight series. If they played like OKC round 1 or something somehow, that could be a very interesting series. That's
They can
obviously
play
not
round
gonna
2.
happen, but
Play round 2. Certainly.
if they get to if they drop to the 4,
Yeah. That's could
they
certainly
drop
happen.
to the 4.
They
Get it
have
done,
a
get it done
schedule coming
early.
up. I mean, the West is
Why
also
wait for
again,
tomorrow? What can be done today?
after the 1 seed, like 2 through 12, I would say is almost like in play. Maybe not. Maybe at the end it's pretty extreme, but it's very jumbled. It's very jumbled, and almost all of those teams made a
There's
change.
just
at
as
the
much
deadline.
space between the Thunder and the Grizzlies as there is between the Grizzlies and the Warriors of the 10 seed.
There you
It's
go.
8 games that separate all of it. So
Exactly.
it is.
So
I mean,
so
yeah,
looking
you
at the
go on a 2 or
standings
3
right
game
now,
streak in the West, and you
matchups could be
you
anything.
can jump 4 spots.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll probably be one unfortunate injury that changes the team, and we've got teams like the Warriors. They just added Jimmy Butler. They're a totally different team right now than they were. I mean, the Kings, the
Did
Spurs,
he
like
shit his
those.
pants in a game the other day, Jimmy Butler?
Hard to tell if it was shit, piss, or just the sweat running from the yellow in the uniform, but I'm down to run with any of those.
That last one you just said, the sweat running from the yellow, there's no way it was that. So, I was thinking maybe sat in like something, but that was not good.
I don't know. Well, yeah, I mean, whatever.
He didn't look. The only reason I don't think he didn't shit himself is that he didn't look guilty at all. He
wasn't operating like a man who defecated.
Right. He wasn't nervous or anything. So
No, certainly
he's
not.
either, if he did shit himself, then he actually is.
He's
crazy,
almost
was
too okay with that.
ice in his veins with that
Something in his
stuff
veins.
shit. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. But I think
But I get what you're saying. Now the Warriors, who knows, they could turn into something.
Well, and also I wouldn't like overreact to the standings or the matchup, because also say the Warriors get to the play-in and it's Warriors Grizzlies round 1. Like, who's going to be confident picking the Grizzlies or the Rockets against, the Warriors who now have Jimmy Butler? Like, so I don't know. I would say the Warriors are almost not in that tier with the Nuggets, but if this goes well, and like it should, if they can make the playoffs healthy with this team, I wouldn't want to play them. And even the Lakers,
right. It's the same thing where it's like, could they do it a bunch of them, or could they just knock out the Thunder and then now chaos reigns supreme?
Exactly. Like someone like probably Houston or Memphis is going to have an awesome year and feel great about what they've done and draw a first round matchup that's just going to go, fuck. Like, this is our reward for that season. Where it's going to be in the East, we're going to be playing a team that was unsuccessfully trying to tank their way out of the playoffs. Is going to be our in the first round. We're going to be playing the fucking Matas Buzelis Bulls. Well, the Grizzlies have been fighting wars all season long, and their reward is either, LeBron and Luka, or Steph and Butler, or, KD and Booker, like no matter what, or Dallas with the AD and Kyrie. Like, they're going to be very possibly underdogs in a first round series, even if they're the 2 seed, which is, oh man, the West is a bloodbath, and these next 30 or so games are going to be fucking fun.
All right. Do we want to kind of just, I know we talked originally about maybe just like tiering, like listing the teams in order, but what do we do? I think maybe it might be easier.
Let's try to tier the
do
West.
it for like a tier. So like, let me get my pen here because I want to take note of this here. So for like our top tier, this would be like, can win the championship. Like, or do we want to say like favorite to win the championship? Like, how do you want to?
I think, like you said, I think it's the Thunder have earned their own tier, where they're the team that looks like.
I was saying let's do it for the whole league. Like,
the whole league. All right. Well, let's do the West first, because we kind of tiered the East.
How do we not finish the West?
We just talked about a lot of teams, but we didn't really put them in tiers of actual contention.
All right.
I mean,
I thought we did do that.
All right, fine. Let's do the whole league.
So go ahead. Yeah, let's do the whole league. I think we This
All
this
right.
can cover all that.
right. I'll say top tier: Celtics, Cavs, Thunder. I think those are the clear three best teams and should be the three favorites to win it all right now. And if people saying, well, the Knicks are right with the Celtics as the defending champs, I think have earned that. Even if their record's below those other guys, they're in that tier clearly.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. So that's like should win the championship, like title or bust tier. I'm trying to think of names for the tiers. Okay.
Yeah, like if any of those teams won it, no one would be surprised. And like the Cavs and Thunder,
And if any of them lose it, they'll get chirped for it. And
perhaps a little bit. And I think the Cavs and Thunder are a lot more where the Celtics were last year, where like the only reason to doubt them is just the like we haven't seen you do it yet. But like if the Cavs finish this off and win the title, everyone would be like, yeah, they were sick all along. We probably should have known.
So this next tier, I would say would be like a could win.
Yeah, wouldn't be shocking if they won it.
And I would say that would be like the Knicks, Nuggets. Anyone else?
No, I think Knicks and Nuggets is the end of that tier for me. Where they're like, at least all in on winning a title. Like if they lost, I think at least internally they'd be like disappointed.
All right. And then so your next tier, I feel like this next tier is going to be all West teams. It's got to be all West teams, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So this tier I would say are teams that like if they get hot and go on a run, they could make the finals. And I don't think any of us we all would be like, yeah, I should have saw that coming, or at least we like wouldn't be shocked that it happened.
All right. So this is like a could make finals tier.
Yeah, and I'd really say it's just. I'd say the Grizzlies are in that tier. I know we kind of just shat on them, but they're a very good team. They wouldn't be shocking. The Lakers, they have LeBron and Luka. Well, I'm not gonna say it'd be shocking if they made the finals. They wouldn't. Mm-hmm. The Warriors, I think you have to put in that tier too. A motivated Jimmy Butler in the playoffs and Steph Curry still. And then I'm torn on if I should end that tier. There's a couple other teams that maybe we'll stop.
How bad you want to put your Rockets in there?
No, that we should end it there because those
kind
teams
of a feisty tier. Yeah,
those teams all have at least like proven it to me. The next tier is teams that like I think could make a run, get hot, and do it, and I'd be like a little surprised, but not like holy shit, that's crazy. So for that, I'd say we can put. They're not at the top of this tier, but I think the Bucks are at least in there for the honest factor.
Mm-hmm. These are in no particular order
and I think the Pacers are at the bottom of this tier too. Again, just because they did it last year. So I think they could go on a run in the playoffs. And then from the West, I'm going to put now we're talking closer to the top of this tier. I think the Timberwolves, again, just if they figure it out, a lot of the pieces are still there. They've looked better lately with Randall on the bench. Ant has been going crazy. That kind of defense we know is they're capable. I think you got to put the Clippers in this tier too because they've just been so good. Ben Simmons made his debut the other night. Looked actually really good. Not that I'm like banking on that being a thing, but it gives him an interesting wrinkle where he can play center for their second unit. Harden's an all-star. Zubats and Powell have been playing like all-stars, and Kawhi. You know, like if he is, I know it's still obviously a big if, but I think he's enough of a positive if that they at least could be in this category where if he suddenly figures it out, it's like, holy shit, that's another team that could go on a run. And then, well, I'll put, I don't even know if the Rockets are in this tier. Honestly, they just don't really have the offense for it. I'll put them in the bottom of this tier. They're as likely as the Pacers. Although I love the Rockets. It's going to be really hard.
What if I put the Rockets in their own tier? It could get hot. Not enough offense or something like that. Because I do feel like they're not really like I don't know. There's other teams I think
kind of like what we talked about with the Pistons, where it's like the Rockets should feel great about however the season ends, but it's probably not going to end with like
what if their tier was like Pacers last year?
This year's Pacers, sure, yeah.
This year's Pacers. All right, that's good.
That's fair.
Okay,
I guess for very different reasons. And then I think I would still put the Mavericks in that tier above this one.
Could get hot.
Yeah, like they could make a run. I wouldn't be shocked. If those guys are healthy, maybe they rally around this Luka thing and become like it's us against the world. Nobody believes in us situation. They've got, I mean, great defenders, even though they're all getting hurt. But if somehow they AD Gafford can come back, PJ Washington's now hurt. Kyrie plays well. It's going to take a lot. I'm not, in any way defending the actions of Nico Harrison, but I think there's enough talent there and enough
I
proven
honestly,
talent.
me personally, I think that Mavs team is gonna like absolutely tank out.
Definitely a possibility.
Unless
Definitely a huge possibility.
because one, AD could be just dead.
Yeah.
And just I think that fan base turning on them. Maybe it'll turn into a thing of like the movie Major Leagues, where it's like the fan base
Right.
turning on the ownership, but the
Yeah.
players, they love the players like undyingly. Could happen, but
Yeah.
I
Well,
think I don't know.
and I think that'll depend on how these first few games go. Like, if the team goes out with a ton of energy, like, I think the fans will want to rally against. They're not mad at the players, you know what I mean? Even AD,
No.
like, it's not fucking his fault, obviously, that any of this shit happened. Like,
Yeah, they don't
so I
mean
think
all
the
those things they're
team,
saying about him.
right? If the team goes out, I think, and plays well and is like a fun team that's easy to rally around, I think the fans will get it in on board with it. But I think if things go poorly and these injuries keep up and maybe things don't go so well, then yeah, it could totally go off the deep end. And honestly, that might be the best situation for them to get a lottery pick. So, tough situation, but yeah, I think they're at least in the bottom of this tier, where if it all clicks, they could make the finals. But yeah,
What's our next tier? So we have
next tier is like, I think it would just be a straight up miracle if they made the finals.
Okay. So yeah, we got the Rockets that are teetering on that tier. Now the next one is
They're
just
above
miracle.
this, if not a miracle. This next tier is like something would dramatically have to change on this team between now and then, in a way that seems impossible, but maybe it isn't. I'd say that's the Kings, the Suns,
and then the rest of the East.
I'll give the Pistons. Like, if there's a couple injuries, if both Jays get injured, and the Pistons could and like the Magic, the Pistons and the Magic, and then I don't know. I'm debating if the Spurs belong in this tier or the next tier. They have so much ground to make up, and we saw the other day they're still like far away.
They're barely even in the. Yeah, I don't know if they can. They might not even make the play.
But I feel like they are a tier above every team that we haven't mentioned. Yeah, that's why I'm kind of.
What if we just put
better
that
than the fucking
a tier that's just called Wemby?
Sure. Their tier is probably, this is the last year they won't be in one of the tiers above them. Like, this could be the last year they're in the contending tiers.
Yeah, last year not being in another tier.
Yeah, like they'll be a big part of this top tier conversation a year from now, I think.
Gotcha. All right.
Okay. And then the next tier is like you might play a playoff game.
And it's just the rest of the East and the Kings.
The Hawks, the Heat, the Bulls, the Sixers. I guess the Nets and the Raptors by default. They could play a playoff game. And then the Blazers are tough. They're actually kind of feisty. They definitely like should be tanking, but before they lost these 3 in a row, I think they had won like 8 out of 9 games. They have some good players. But yeah, no. And then the last tier is just we're all in on Cooper Flag, and Hornets, Wizards, Jazz, and Pelicans are that last tier. A lot of other teams should be trying to be in that tier, but some of those will probably have a playoff game team tiers should be in the we want Cooper Flag tier, but they just haven't realized it yet, sadly. For them.
Maybe for some of those East teams, I'll do some of the East, but they'll do one that's like, we want Cooper Flag. And then the other one will be like, we might actually get Cooper Flag, though. That's like
so incompetent, we can't even properly tank for Cooper Flag.
Yes. Couldn't figure out how to get
Philly,
Flag.
Bulls, maybe.
Hey, that's good. Dude, no, these are good tiers. I'll do one of those tier maker things. We'll get a nice little tier list here. Embrace some debate online.
Definitely.
All right, you got anything else on the season, state of the seas, anything like that? I mean, I think the Celtics just think this is the time they'll turn it on. I'm over that slump. I'm past that. I think that they're in a good spot. The fact that they've gone and they've beaten their competition in the East the way they have, in kind of the midst of all that, it's just, I'm just waiting for the playoffs to start. We'll still be doing every episode. We'll find storylines for every game and stuff like that.
There'll be plenty, even if not with the Celtics. This league is not going to be short on storylines, like I just said. Though in the East, it's the race to not be in the play-in. In the West, it's the race to be in the play-in. Are both going to be some fun things to watch, and hopefully stress-free. I mean, the biggest thing: stay fucking healthy. Just don't overtax, guys. We just mentioned how it would be cool to get that 1 seed, but like, it's not worth chasing. We saw the Nuggets run themselves into the ground trying to chase a better seed at the end of last season, and then they kind of wore it out in the playoffs. As much as I'd love to avoid playing both of the Knicks and Cavs, it's not a big enough deal to be worth not coming in our healthiest and playing our best ball. So that's paramount in all of this.
Yeah. All right. Gearing up for the second half of the season, folks. This is where it gets fun. This is where it gets interesting.
Can't wait.
Right. We'll be back with you as soon as the Celtics. When do they play? When's their first game back? Thursday?
I think so. I realized games technically start Wednesday, but it's just that Hornets-Lakers game. I think that's rescheduled from when the Fires were. Because I was looking at the slate, I was like, why the fuck is there a standalone Hornets-Lakers game on Wednesday at 10 p.m.?
Why wouldn't there be?
Well, I mean, that was my first thought, is like, of course. And then I thought a little more. I was like, I think I remember hearing.
We'll be back Thursday then with a loaded episode of Chuddy's Corner. We'll talk Celtics.
We're not going to do recap that Hornets-Lakers game on Wednesday.
We'll cover it on Thursday.
Definitely.
All right,
the Dalton Connect Revenge, called Dalton Connect Double Revenge game.
I didn't even realize that. That is funny that it's those two. Yeah.
Will Mark Williams
came out and like came out with like the Lakers warm up on and just snapped it off, and he's wearing a Hornets uniform.
He could have some fun with it for sure.
Yeah, that'd be great. All right, we'll see everyone back here then on Thursday. Everyone enjoy your All-Star break. Make sure you subscribe to the show on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter. What did you say?
I said or both. It shouldn't be an or and.
Or both.
YouTube and
everything.
Spotify and
anything
Apple
you see Chuddy's Corner and see subscribe, hit it. And yeah, make sure you follow us on Twitter at Chuddy's Corner. We're doing live tweets during games. We're ripping out memes. We got it all going on. Follow him. He's at King Chuddy. Follow me. I'm at Doug_outs. Enjoy your All-Star break, Chud. And everyone else, take care.
Peace out, Chuddy.